Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is nighttime in the house, and I am about to do a Pinterest surfing session, and we're going to check this out together. You're going to see me going through Pinterest just like I do normally. I'm going to do this live. Well, not really live, just live in the video itself. I'm going to be seeing these designs for the first time and just kind of giving my thoughts on them and everything. I will be just discussing different designs and everything, and this is a very nice time of night doing this. Everyone, for the most part, has gotten into bed. I've got small children, so they go to bed kind of early, so this is actually considered late in our house. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into Pinterest and see what we've got going on. All right, so I've talked about this a couple of times to a couple of different people. I have been looking at poster designs and different graphic design type of things so often over the years that it just kind of comes up naturally for me. Well, not naturally, it just comes up automatically for me. So Pinterest kind of knows what I'm looking for, so it just shows me what it thinks that I want right off the bat. And I would say that most of the time, it does a pretty good job, although sometimes things are a little bit wonky. But I would say that what I'm looking at for the most part here, whenever I get to like the home screen right here, there's a couple of things that I'm wanting to look for. I'm not looking for things that are like your typical graphic design posters that you might see, out featured on some kind of website or anything like that. I'm looking for really, truly original stuff that just, that really catches my eye and makes me go, oh, that's really cool. I've never quite seen that before. So, and I also really love things that are super creative in terms of taking a design like an established IP or whatever it is and really putting a creative twist on it in a way that I wouldn't have thought about, but it makes me look at it and think, wow, what a great idea. And of course, as designers, we naturally look at something and go, why didn't I think of that? So I actually think that that is kind of the secret motto of every graphic designer is, why didn't I think of that? So anyway, so let's take a look. I'm saying so a lot. I'm so sorry. Here I am again saying so a lot and so sorry. I'm taking a look at these posters right up here, and I really like these vintage type of posters right here. These layouts are really cool, and I try my best to recreate some of the vintage looks in here. You can do a lot with paper overlays and grain textures and things like that, but then also just kind of using some blurs and everything. But when you're using blurs, you've got to make sure that you have a really good layering of all of your different textures, because you want those blurs to work together. So and then also threshold is a really good one. So I may kind of take something like this and show you exactly how to do this, because if you look at the edging right here, obviously this is a very small resolution image, but if you were going to make something like this on a large scale, you would obviously want it to have a vintage look and to not make it look like it was made in 2024, because this was obviously made whenever it was made, probably in the, I would say probably late 60s, early 70s, just kind of judging from this. Oh, look at this. Okay, it didn't actually show the date. It shows the dates, but not the year. But anyway, when you're doing something like this, you want to make sure that you are being authentic to the era. So late 60s, early 70s, they're not going to have this super clean, sharp typography the way that we have it now. This obviously would have been applied using some kind of a letterpress or like a wood press, something like that. And you want to try your best to really nail that. So maybe I'll do that in a video next week. I do a lot of it in the videos that I'm currently doing, because I do make a lot of posters that are like that. That's kind of my thing. But it's always helpful for people to kind of see it and really getting into the groove of being able to do something like that if you're also wanting to try the same style. This is very interesting right here. We've got this Ruth Wolf Refelt. I hope I totally butchered that, I know. But this is really interesting here. We've got this font that kind of looks like a typewriter type of font. And it's interesting. I have no idea what language this is in, but that is a very cool layout right there. I like how the letters are really spaced out and they kind of, oh, what happened to our image? You know what? Let's just open it in a new tab. Yeah, that's a lot easier. But this is very cool. It's got like a lemon lime type of shape right up here, and these letters that are going this way. This would actually be pretty easy to pull off in Illustrator. It would definitely be meticulous, but it's very easy to do. So I might do something like this. If anyone wants to see it, let me know down in the comments below. And let's go back to our home screen. There's a lot to look at, and that's one of the biggest challenges of doing this, is figuring out which ones to add to the weekly favorites, because I feel like I could easily add all of these to the weekly favorites, but I try not to be too repetitive, and I say that while I do a lot of repetitive type of techniques in my videos. But I think that a lot of that has to do with style, but I also really try hard to offer plenty of variety to everybody, whether I'm doing Photoshop or Illustrator. So this is a very cool one, just a very classic type of layout right here. I'm not sure if this is a scan of the original or maybe it's a recreation. Sometimes it's really difficult to tell, but we do have the Reading Festival right up here and all of the different bands that are listed out. It's just a very simple type of layout right here, but one of the things that I think works really well for it is the fact that we do have these lines right here. Everything is segmented into its own section, and I think that sometimes we as designers can get away from something like that. It's a very basic and simple type of element, but it really is helpful to the observer, to the person that's actually looking at the poster, in order to navigate and know how to go about getting around the poster itself. So very clear headlines here. Obviously during this time period, serif type was definitely all the rage. It was very unusual to see a lot of sans serif heavy typefaces in the early 90s specifically, especially with this type of music. This is like more on the alternative side, a little bit of grunge. Obviously you've got a little bit of grunge in there as well, but it's more overall very alternative type of music, and you would see a lot of serif typography there. All right, let's scroll down just a little bit more and just see what jumps out at us. This one's pretty cool. I like this one, and it looks like this is some kind of a, let's see, Austin City Limits, ACL Live at the Movie Theater. So that is actually a really cool poster, and also very simple to do in Photoshop. So you just get the image, the actual subject right over here. You'll notice it's on the left side of the poster, and then we've got this typography that's laid on top of this, but we have an elongated D right here that's standing in for the Andra, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that, Andra Day. The D is standing in for both words, so we've got that elongated D right there. And the way you do this is you use your direct select tool. So you grab around the midpoint of the D with the direct select tool, and then you grab those anchor points and just pull those down. Make sure you hold shift when you're doing something like that. And when you bring the type over into Photoshop, it's just a simple matter of using a blending mode. So just use a blending mode that actually brings a part of the image to where it's just kind of slightly interacting with the type itself. Once to try for something like this would be like darken or multiply or overlay. It's going to vary depending on the lighting of your subject and the color of your type. So either way, you're going to be using some blending modes there. And I notice also that we've got some grain happening right here. This could be because of the paper texture, or it could be an artificial texture that's brought into Photoshop. And it's interesting here, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be part of the poster design itself, but we have a paper texture around the outside of the artwork, and that's pretty cool too. All right, that is a very cool design. I like that one a lot. Let's see what else is jumping out at us. Okay, this one is also really cool. And let's open this in a new tab. We've got some type wrapping that's going on around here. I'm guessing that they are using an envelope distort for this. This would definitely require a lot of experimenting, but I think that they're doing that. What you would do is you would lay down your ampersand right here, but we've got some 3D stuff going on here too. This would definitely be pretty complex to at least build out, and then once you have your foundation set up, then you can actually map that text according to it. I'm not sure exactly how you would do that. So that would be interesting to experiment on. I honestly have no clue how to do it. But you know, that's part of the fun of using Illustrator, is always trying out new things and seeing if you can actually achieve something that you normally don't do. Because this is something I normally don't do, and stuff like that can be a little bit intimidating sometimes, but that's where you grow the most. So I may actually look into this and see if I can figure it out. All right, let's see what else we got here. We've got some really cool stuff. Another vintage design there. We got David Bowie. This one is cool. Like, we've got this texture that's going on over this 2 right here. I'm a really big fan of the number 2. I don't really know why specifically. I just love the design of it. But we've got this really cool kind of glass texture. It almost kind of looks like ice that's laid over this, but I love how it's affecting that 2 right there. We've got those really cool colors that are coming in through here that are kind of refracting in this glass design. And it looks like the glass design is actual glass. It looks like it was photographed. It's even possible, I'm not 100% sure, but it is possible that it was actually photographed on top of this number 2 right here. Of course, it could be all done in Photoshop or maybe a different program, but this is a really cool design. I really like it a lot. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Another Rolling Stones poster. This one's interesting. The Just Type right here, that would actually be pretty easy to pull off. You would just use some layering and then also the Pathfinder in Illustrator. Let's keep going. I really love little short bursts of type like this. Like, it's the kind of type that you would see like at the end of TV shows, like back from the 70s and 80s, where they would show like where it was filmed or the sponsor or the studio or something like that. This New York City right here, it's very similar to things like that. And I love those little short bursts of type that are very retro, that they just feel very vintage to me. I see this Obit Life on Deadline poster like pretty much every time I come onto Pinterest, and I have done something similar to that. That's a halftone pattern up there at the top, and that is really cool. I really do like that one a lot. It's something that I don't ever hide because it's always really cool to see it. Bauhaus posters, always super cool, and I love how those 2 shapes kind of come together, very Matrix-like. I guess the thing that I'm thinking about is the scene where Neo is seeing himself in the mirror and he like puts his finger into it and just kind of pulls it out. That's what it always makes me think of, is that scene from The Matrix. This one right here, I love imagery that's like this, where we have like a very minimal take on something like rocks and like a seashore and the sun. Like, I love stuff like this. One of my favorite album covers within the past couple of years is Every Moment, Everything You Need by Deserta. And that album cover perfectly captures the feel of the album itself. And it's just a beautiful album with a beautiful album cover. And anytime I see anything like this, it makes me think of that. And I love the entire vibe that comes along with this type of artwork. It's just so cool. Very, very relaxing. This is cool. I like the make new work. I almost read that as make New York, but this is make new work right here. And the lettering on here is very interesting. Very like kind of early Bauhaus type of stuff going on. Also a little bit of, what is the design style I'm trying to think of? I can't think of it right now. My brain is too fried after a long day. But this is very interesting right here. Also very simple to pull off in Illustrator. What you would do here is you would lay down your type and then make a copy of it and then paste it in front and then paste it in front again. And then you would actually move one of those down and to the left and then create a blend between the 2 of them and make your blend a high count in order to get a lot of copies in between those 2. I've done that a few times, but if you'd like to see me do it again, let me know down in the comments. All right, this one's a cool design as well, and I love the color orange. So just about anything orange, if I see it, I'm gonna click on it. It's also a great message. Your progress does not always need to be seen or validated. And it's true, we make so much progress as designers, behind the scenes, and I make a lot of progress in my personal work, stuff that the clients or anyone else will never ever see, stuff that I like to do for myself. And actually, I just realized that would be a really cool video. If you'd like to see stuff that I work on that in my mind will never get seen and you'd like to see it, let me know. This is a very cool one, and I actually brought something similar to this up in last week's video, and it is just kind of like a cutting type of thing, and all the individual letters themselves looks like as it gets further to the left and then also to the right that it's actually getting even more of those colors right there. I'd have to experiment to figure out the best way to achieve this effect, but I'm thinking lay down the text in Illustrator and then do all of those effects in Photoshop. Obviously we're doing some layering in there and then some blurring. That's just kind of thinking off the top of my head, but it's a very cool effect and something you would need both Illustrator and Photoshop for. But I love this type of stuff. Anything that's going to do a nice blending of those colors and textures is just beautiful. All right, I'm going to do a couple more to discuss here. Let's just kind of see what jumps out at me. This is the modern world. That's a pretty cool one. Very simple design. I do like the boxed in design here. That is a very cool one. This is giving me some Metropolis vibes. If you've never seen the movie Metropolis from 1927, definitely check it out. It is very, very impressive that they were able to make that movie at the time that they made it. So this is a really cool design. We've got some isometric text that's going on right here. And in terms of pulling this off in Illustrator, it wouldn't be too difficult. It looks like it would be very meticulous though, definitely time consuming. And it's really trippy actually. Let's zoom it out just a little bit to get more of a at a glance view. But it's like these empty squares and everything. It looks like you can just reach your hand right in it. It's really cool, but it's also kind of unnerving a little bit. But very cool design. I love that one a lot. All right, let's take a look at one more. And I really want to see if I can find something that is super, super cool here, like really stands out. I remember using this rituals one right here in a different video. All right, let's take a look at this perspective poster right here. This is a very cool design. I have done some things like this. I don't think I've ever done anything on the channel, but really, really cool stuff right here. I would have to kind of play around with this to see the best way to recreate this and teach it, but this is very intriguing. I actually might play around with this sometime next week and see what I can do with it. But I love the lighting right here. The effects that are going on this way kind of looks like paper is kind of crumbled up a little bit, but it's very interesting because it's just a distortion of text, but also really working together the lines and the lighting. It's just gorgeous. And like I could see this for many different types of applications, and it's not quite like anything that I've seen before. So very, very cool design, and I love it. So let me add it to the weekly favorite so we can come back to it if we ever need to. All right, well, I really enjoyed this Pinterest surfing session. I hope you did as well. If you have any suggestions for designs for me to cover on the channel, let me know down in the comments. And if there's a design that you saw that I didn't click on and you'd like me to cover that, also let me know that down in the comments. Just a reminder to please subscribe to support the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.